Hi, this is Audrey Blair, and you're listening to the Change is Hard podcast, episode 27. Hello. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you are doing well, and I am sending you some good vibes. We are in spring, I think. Sometimes the weather is playing tricks on us right now, but I think we're heading in the right direction. At least I hope so. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about one of the things that have been coming up quite a bit lately in some of the consults that I've been doing and in some of the sessions with clients that I've been doing. And it's this idea of, or the feeling of being stuck and the cost of that and what it's doing. I was recently on a consult call with someone. I'll call her Mel. And she had been circling around some decisions that she needed to make for months. Actually, it's been almost a year. And at this point, she feels scattered. She feels like she's been floating aimlessly around. And now she genuinely just doesn't know what she needs to do. And after talking a little bit longer, what became more clear is that she wasn't actually stuck. She's just simply overthinking. And maybe you can relate to this. I know that I can certainly relate to this. Sometimes we convince ourselves that being stuck is the issue. It feels really real because we haven't decided on what to do next. And it also feels like you're busy doing something. And it keeps your brain busy. That's why it feels like you're going somewhere, because you're toiling around with the decisions and you're analyzing. I know my brain can analyze things. You're looking for more information. Maybe you're getting additional input from other people or different advice from people. And the thing is, you feel like you're in action, but you're actually not going anywhere. Well, what's happening is it's not that you're spinning your wheels because there's not a lack of choice. Most of the time, it's a fear of making the wrong choice. And if you are someone who prides yourself on getting things right, on being strategic, being thoughtful, this can hit pretty hard because the fear of being wrong can get in the way, and the fear of failing, or at least what you might anticipate as failing, is something that can stop you in your tracks from moving forward. I know because I fully believe that I have lost out on thousands and thousands of dollars because I couldn't make a decision about even simple things like what the proposal is going to look like, or the formatting, or the font. And then a day goes by and then I'm worried about what this is going to look like. And ultimately it gets in the way of moving into action, and then I lose out. And part of it is because of a standard that I had placed on certain things. And maybe you're known for making smart decisions. Maybe the stakes feel really, really high. But the fear isn't so much about making the wrong choice. A lot of times it's about what your decision or what you're giving over to someone, what that might say about you. And the thing we don't talk enough about, or at least we don't challenge our own thinking about it, is the cost of staying in that indecision. Not only the actual cost, dollar cost, but also the energy. It drains your energy. It steals your time. And I think the biggest cost is how it chips away at your confidence a little bit at a time, to the point where you have a hard time even trusting yourself to move forward and trusting yourself to make decisions. And this is what Mel was feeling like. She spent many, many years leading teams and doing projects successfully. But there was a situation where she lost her job pretty suddenly. So she lost not just her job, not just her income, but what happened was she lost her sense of her own value. Now, at this point, what we discovered is that she's not stuck because she doesn't have options, but she is afraid of committing to a new choice and what that might mean for her and how that might need to change how she sees herself. So in other words, her own identity. What is she tying her identity to? She did lose her job abruptly, and that was hard. And then she moved on to another job, but she didn't actually ever process what happened to her in that transition. So maybe this sounds familiar to you, and the idea that, hey, I can't move forward until I have the perfect choice or I have the perfect plan. The thing is, there is no perfect choice. There is no perfect plan. All you can do is figure out what's important to you right now, what some of your core values are, and are your next choices aligned with that, aligned with who you are, or a lot of times I talk about align with who you are becoming. It doesn't mean that it's going to be smooth or easy, right? What I'm talking about sounds simple, and it is simple, but it is not easy. There's a lot that I had to work through on my own perception of, hey, I'm not putting my name on anything that doesn't have a certain standard. Well, okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But are you holding things up? Are you becoming a bottleneck on projects, on your own team? And for me, even in my own business, because of some standard that, frankly, a lot of times most people can't live up to, including yourself. And is it that important? Sometimes we have standards on things that don't need to have that high of a standard. I was talking to another client this week, and it was interesting because very similarly, she had the same idea. I have a certain standard, and we were actually talking about setting boundaries, which is a different conversation. But as a part of that, she was taking on all this extra work and spending all this extra time to complete something that she did not need to spend those kind of hours on. We were talking actually very specifically, and we laughed about it later, but very specifically about how she was tweaking this spreadsheet to death. Like every time she would think about sending out the data that she had put together, she stopped herself and found something else that she needed to tweak or change, and this perfectionism mindset getting in the way. And we had to think about, well, what is it that you're actually avoiding here? It's not that this spreadsheet needs to be the perfect thing right now. So finally, talking to Mel, what helped to move her was to give herself permission to not get it exactly right the first time. She made a decision to take on the role that she has now with the information that she had at the time. Now she's had a little bit of breathing room, and now she's trying to figure out, well, how do I want to pivot from here? So we just started small. What are some of the next steps? And once she began to move, that's when things started to become more clear. Just a little bit. The sky didn't open up and everything fall into place. No. But opportunities then started to present themselves. There were some new connections. Even just in our conversation, she opened up to the possibility of trying some different things. And then now I see that there's some momentum. And so what that's going to help her do is come back around to help her find herself for where she is and where she wants to go. So the way that we can get through this is I want to give you something very, very practical. The first thing that we have to do is identify what is really underneath the decision. A lot of times it's based in some kind of fear. Is it regret? Is it you don't want to get any criticism based on what you're turning in or what you're doing or how you're showing up? Is it perfectionism? That can certainly get in the way, and that halts a lot of people. Are you worried about making the wrong move? Are you buffering for a reason that is, hey, I don't want anyone to see this work? Is it a fear of rejection? I know for me, that's what it was. Ultimately, I had to decide, what if this proposal doesn't get accepted? Well, that's what I was trying to avoid by not turning it in. And guess what happened? There was no need for rejection because there was nothing to reject because I actually didn't turn it in. And then money lost, potential. Now, I would never know. So I had to start working on really getting past and getting over myself. What is more important? What are you here for? What are you trying to do? I needed to work on getting myself out there more and showing up in spaces that I wasn't normally showing up in. And it's has been and still is to some degree very, very uncomfortable. And I will talk about this all the time. I do believe that we have to get stronger at building our capacity for making moves with discomfort. If we're waiting for the comfort to go away, we're just going to be sitting there waiting. But as you grow your discomfort and your capacity for doing things that are uncomfortable, the things that you're uncomfortable with now, they become less and less because now you're dealing with I call them higher quality problems or higher quality issues. So identifying what's really underneath the indecision, what's underneath the fear, and sometimes it's not about a wrong decision because you might have two great options in front of you. It's just what you choose, and then you get to make it right. The second thing is remember that making a commitment, making a decision, that is what actually brings clarity. It's not the other way around. You don't need to know all the steps in your 5-year plan. You just need to know the next step. You get to choose that next step. And then once you go through that door, you take that step, you get a different view. As you're walking on a path, every step you take, after you get a little further, you see more and more of the things that are in front of you. You can't make decisions about something that's 500 feet in front of you because you can't see beyond that point. So it's not about all the things. It's just the very next decision you need to make. And in some cases, that's just about showing up. Some cases, it's about send the email, have the conversation, book the meeting, turn in that proposal, stop tweaking that presentation, and then allow yourself to get some feedback. If you're not sure what they're looking for, turn it in and say, hey, what are your thoughts? Sometimes we make feedback so much about us and not the behavior that also gets in the way. And finally, give yourself some space, give yourself some grace. It's okay that you don't know everything right now. 5 years ago, I could not have known what my business was going to look like today. So I could not have made plans 5 years ago for the things that I'm doing today. I can only project and think. But at that time, 5 years ago, the first thing in front of me was, well, how do I get that next client? Where's that going to come from? Who can I talk to? And guess what? It's still something I have to do today as well. So some things don't ever go away. So I have to grow in building that capacity for the discomfort. You can start making those steps as well. And oftentimes, maybe you mess up or there's failure. It doesn't necessarily mean something about you. It's just that, hey, I've never done this before, or I haven't learned this that well. And so you can get better at it. But chances are you are not stuck. Chances are you just need to make a decision. Chances are you're just ready for something new. So if there are some decisions that you're circling around and some things that you haven't really considered or you're afraid to make those decisions, just think about the very next thing that you can do. And if you need some help with that, I would love to work with you. That is one of the main things that I help clients do. We get clear, we get moving, we get results. They start moving forward. All right. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Take care and remember that you've got this. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And in the show notes, I will have a link for you to book a call with me and I can support you on your journey. I'll see you next time.